Hello everyone, welcome to GGPoker Showdown number 2. I'm Chris Pajak from the Red Men TV, joined by Terry Flares from the Football Terrace, Hugh Wizzy Sim from We Are Tottenham TV, and Henry Wright TV. We've got an action-packed fan debate over a game of poker planned for you this evening. So I'm going to pass you over to Terry, who's going to host this evening. Terry, how are you, mate?
I'm good. Second place last week, looking to go number 1. So I'm very excited about that. Viewers, you can all join in. You can all play your own games as well. There's a link in the description, pinned into live comments of all of our channels. So get signed up now to GGPoker. They're giving away, over the course of 2025, £25 million as well. So if you enjoy a little game of poker, do it responsibly, of course, but get signed up to GGPoker now, the biggest poker app in the world. Loads to talk about today as well, gents. We're looking at the title race, talking Arsenal and Liverpool, maybe a little Forest in there as well, a little bit of review of the North London derby, and we have heard that Porro has now stood up. He is now standing. He is now okay after that game. We're going to review United's match last night and how they'll get on against Brighton and discuss Chelsea's crisis. No win in 5 games for them, plus a little chat about Erling Haaland and his new 115-month contract at Man City. But Hugh, we've got Sim, we've got Henry, of course, we've got Chris as well. How are you all, boys? Well, good?
Very well. Shining, flying, back in the title race, loving life.
What about the FA Cup, Hugh? He's doing that.
Yeah, what about that? What about that?
Frankly,
Let me talk to you about the FA Cup and how Arsenal have won the FA Cup more than any other club in the country. So,
Didn't you go out on the third round last time as well?
Moving on to bigger pastures, bigger, brighter, greener pastures. No, in all seriousness, very, very happy after that performance. Wow. Like we were saying, Pedro Porro, he's going to need a hip replacement. He is dancing with the stars. He is, oh mate, he's dancing on ice, isn't he, really? It was fantastic to watch kids like Lewis Skelly shining, doing it for the local lads, I tell you what. And also massive 3 points. Obviously, Tottenham in the mud. You know, we will talk about their situation and, you know, the manager, the form. It's dark times for Spurs. I do understand that everyone wants Arsenal to be done out here, but we're back and we are just coming back together as well with some talk in the transfer window of maybe doing something or other, or he looks to be a little bit more active due to a couple of the injuries. So I'm feeling quite positive as an Arsenal fan anyway.
I bet you are. Just let the viewers know, we're going to come back to football in a minute. We're going to start our poker game in about 10 minutes time as well. So we thought we'd be better this week for you. We start off talking football and we'll introduce the games. A few people said they're a bit shocked last time by how it sort of went in so quickly to the game. So that's coming soon. But look, on Arsenal, on the title race, you said it there, Hugh, that you're back in it. You're 4 points off the top. A big weekend, a massive game against Aston Villa, Liverpool away at Brentford. Do you see Arsenal closing that gap further?
I don't see why not. It's closing in front of our eyes, isn't it? Liverpool, they're due something. You know, they're due a little bit of misfortune, or they won't have it easy. You know, I don't think they're going to go all the way with, what is it? Well, we've got like 17 games left or something without dropping a few points. So just being there or thereabouts is enough to keep us, you know, with a little bit of hope and looking forward to the football.
You know what, for me, right, it's not supposed to be easy, is it? Like, it's supposed to... there's a part of me that, like, when we won the Premier League a few years ago and stuff, obviously the biggest disappointment was not being in the ground to be able to see it. And I feel a bit cheated in that regard. And I feel a bit cheated because we had the best side in the world at the time. I'm actually, in a weird, sick way, like, really relishing a battle for a league title, and I think that's the way it should be. I think Arsenal are a really good side, and you've seen that over the last 3 seasons. They're absolutely exceptional, and I think it was around this time last season where everyone was saying they couldn't score goals, and it wasn't the corners and stuff like it was this season, but like they just turned it on for about 4 or 5 games on the run when they started scoring 4 and 5 goals each time. So I don't quite buy into the fact that Arsenal can't score goals yet. I think they've had their own issues, obviously the Saka thing and Martinelli maybe not being as good as he's been in previous years and stuff like that. But they're so well coached, they're such a good side. I find the thing about Arteta, you know, the fact that people are even talking about whether he should be, you know, considered to be going, that's mental to me. He's absolutely sensational as a coach. But Liverpool can be there. You know, Liverpool aren't the finished article yet. And I think that's what's probably annoyed Arsenal fans more than anything. And Hugh will tell me if I'm wrong here. But it feels like Arsenal fans are annoyed at us for actually being good this season when City drop off. They felt like it should have just been Arsenal's title, but it's not going to be like that. I think Nottingham Forest are going to have to say about it. I think Newcastle are going to have a little say about it. Arsenal as well. The interesting thing for me is it actually could be a really exciting title race because there isn't going to be one team that's going to be massively better. I think all teams are going to be dropping points this season. I just hope that Liverpool have built up enough of a buffer that we can make sure that we win it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's definitely an exciting one. And like you said, there are a few other sort of surprises in line for both sides. I can see both sides are more than capable of going on runs and dropping points as well. So if Forest, Newcastle, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if City just start to put a little run together themselves. And you know, the race for the top 4 anyway, or for Champions League football, is definitely on for like 5 or 6 clubs. So I don't see why it can't be an exciting, you know, second half of the season. As far as like what I was expecting from Liverpool as an Arsenal fan, I think you're right. You're banging the money with the sort of pre-season prediction, which was that it would be City again. And if it isn't, you better be winning the league because... they have been the issue, but what people forget is that, you know, they have been battling the whole time with the Liverpool side who know that you can't afford to drop points. I saw the look on Van Dijk's face last game or a couple of games ago, just watching it sort of wither away in front of his eyes. He must have been having little flashbacks. And like you said, that is going to give us an amazing battle, basically. It's going to be... who makes the least mistakes, essentially, because they're both super well coached. I don't think anyone really went into the season, though, expecting Liverpool to be as good as they've been. I hate to say that.
Not at least me. I think nowhere near, mate. I thought it was, you know, if we could get third again, that would be sound, you know what I mean? I think, obviously, Klopp going was massive for us, Hugh, and you're thinking to yourself, after 9.5 years of a otherworldly manager and such a big figure at the football club, it would take time, but Slot's just come in and done it the right way. It's like he's coaching the players and he's doing different things with them, and hopefully he can carry on because he's been a breath of fresh air as well in his own way. Like the honesty, like he's just, I use this phrase all the time on Redmen and stuff, he's just dead Dutch. He's just dead honest and he's a straight shooter. And if he disagrees with you, he's going to disagree with you. And I think the players have all responded to a change of manager.
I think he's not lucky, but he's kind of, the rebuild was already done by the time he came in. So I think he came into a lot more stable kind of environment than some other new managers, like let's say like David Moyes when Fergie left, and Emery when Wenger left. I think they weren't as stable environments as I think Klopp. Klopp deserves a lot of credit for last season and how they've rebuilt the squad. And look, you were top of the league at this point, right? At this point last season, albeit it was probably closer. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, and we had a lot more injuries last season, but yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's really just built on how you were last season. And people just forget, right, that Liverpool didn't really sign anyone in the summer. They've literally gone again with the same team. I hear a lot of Tottenham fans complain, we didn't buy a number 6 and stuff. And Liverpool were looking for a number 6 in the summer. And, you know, that was one of the big issues last season, wasn't it? Who's going to be defensive midfield? And he's just found an internal solution in Gravenberch and just made him into one of the best 6s in the league this season. So I think Slot is doing a remarkable job, but definitely he's coming in a stable environment. I think your firepower is is definitely unmatched this season for sure. Obviously Salah's gone to another level, but the Liverpool firepower is absolutely incredible, and I think that's going to be the difference, because I just think Arsenal's firepower without Saka especially is lacking, and it is, and I think they've definitely struck. I look at them in the games since Saka's been injured, and also that little period when Odegaard was out. When one of those two are out, they just don't look the same team going forward, and I do think they're going to struggle to win as many games as Liverpool are. Even in the games that Liverpool have dropped points recently, apart from maybe the United game, I look at the Newcastle game, the Fulham game, the Forest game. You should have won all three of those games. You really had the chances to win all three of those games. Whereas I'm looking at some of the games Arsenal have dropped points in. I know they've had chances, but I'm looking at who they're relying on, the likes of Kai Havertz, the likes of like Trossard, Martinelli's in terrible form. I just don't think they have the firepower that Liverpool have, albeit I think obviously Arsenal are a better defensive unit. They're a bit more solid in that aspect, and I think as well defensive depth they're a bit better there. But I just think there's going to be too many games. I think there'll be more games where Arsenal come unstuck and frustrated, whereas I'm seeing Liverpool just find more solutions in that aspect. And I think set pieces will bail Arsenal out a lot of the time, and they'll probably keep them in the title race. But I don't think they'll win it. I really don't. I look at that firepower, and then unless if they signed a forward in January, I might change my mind. But if they don't sign a forward, I can't see them winning the league. I really can't. And I think actually the North London derby was proof of that in a weird way, because I felt like you should have scored 4 or 5, and your front line was poor. I thought it was really poor.
On that though, I mean, they're linked to a lot of players. Just now, the Daily Mirror have published an article saying that Arsenal are ready to splash the cash on Viktor Gyökeres this month after Mikel Arteta admits the Gunners are actively looking. I mean, that's what they need to do, though, right? If Arsenal want to go and win this league, it's go out and sign Viktor Gyökeres, spend the 67 million on his release clause, and bring in an absolute bagsman. If they do that, does that change the way you view it, Sim?
Yeah, if they get a bagsman, I think that's literally what's keeping them from winning the league. I think Havertz, you can't rely on him to be an absolute killer in front of goal in the big moments. I think he's a good link striker, and I think he helps the team. He's good at pressing, all these different things. But in terms of absolute killer in front of goal, he's just not that guy. I think he will let them down in the big moments. And I just don't. I look at their wingers as well. And apart from Saka, who's actually doing the business right now? Trossard's popping up here and there, but is he a guy you can rely on week in, week out? Martinelli's been in poor form for a while, albeit recently he's had some good games, but he's been in poor form for quite a long time. Sterling's been absolute trash. Jesus has now got an ACL. So I'm looking at their forward line, and I'm just Liverpool, literally apart from Núñez, are all scoring goals, are all in good form. And I'm looking at Arsenal right now, and apart from Saka, none of them are doing it really. And I know, again, they're heavily on set pieces. They need a striker. I'm saying it categorically. And not necessarily a striker, just a forward who, who's going to consistently have that world-class game-winning ability, which they just do not have in that forward line. Yes, they'll win games, but they're not going to keep the consistency with Liverpool, in my opinion, with that kind of forward line. I think if they don't sign any forwards this January, they will not win the league.
Do you know? I think you are right. If they bring in a Gyökeres or Osimhen, or Buemo or Acuna, or someone that actually knows where the back of the net is, I would back them to push Liverpool all the way. The thing for me is that inconsistency, like you said, with Martinelli and Trossard. Like, we can all laugh that Porro got turned inside out. So what? Perisic did it to Van Dijk. He's still the best centre-back in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one game. I think with Arsenal, like, they're looking at Zubimendi in the summer, and they look like they're maybe bringing in Buemo or someone in the summer. But if they don't bring someone in now, like, I watched Sterling, every time he got on the ball in the game against us, he slowed things down. And I think Jed Spence coming up against Sterling, it was a lot easier. When they made a couple of changes, I think Arsenal started to dominate a bit more. But I agree with you, Sam. I think you're spot on. I think Liverpool right now, Cody Gakpo's got a few goals in the League Cup. He's performed well. Jota, struggling with injuries, but he's still, in my opinion, their best number 9. Núñez is the only one. And I think if Liverpool bring in someone, I think if I was a Liverpool fan looking at it, I think a fullback, maybe Gyökeres from Bournemouth. I think he'd be the perfect Robertson replacement. And obviously Robertson's at the age now where he can still work alongside him. So yeah, I think
right, game started.
Yeah,
guys,
the game has started.
Hugh, are
We're
you
just
live?
listening to Henry. Stop waffling now. The game's begun. So, yeah. By the way, Henry, it's a really important show. This What's wrong with your hair? Why is your hair not being cut? Why are you not looking smart, bro? I'm just.
This I don't know. My hair looks all right, doesn't it?
You
At least
honestly,
this is my hair. At least it's actually my hair.
that is my hair.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
I didn't have to pay for mine, to be fair, though. So
that's true. You should spend the money getting your bags under your eyes sorted out. That's what you should spend your money on, mate. Do you know what I mean? You honestly look. Did your mum sleep with Uncle Fester?
might as well.
There we go. Who's still in this game? Like Sim versus Chris.
Paris should have bet. You would have folded.
Yeah,
Done him.
I'm not sure I would have after last week. He did it to me last week. I'm looking forward to this, you know.
I know. Yeah,
he's got the bit between his teeth. He's got the bit between his teeth. Come on,
Hugh. Do you think you're going for a player of the level of Viktor Gyökeres? Is he the player you want, or is there someone else that you think you should be spending that money on?
Well, I think what I think and what I want are two very different things, especially when Arsenal are concerned in January. I can actually see us doing sort of a plaster, a short-term fix, loan deal last minute instead of spending big. I would, I'd love us to go for a Gyökeres, mate. I think it's quite unrealistic. It would be massive outlaying. And it's quite difficult, isn't it, in January? People have to understand other clubs want to replace the players who are the main targets. So, I can understand if they don't get it done and they're planning something properly for the summer, which they're clearly doing with the likes of Zubizu.
Well done.
Hugh, sorry to talk.
Another defensive midfielder, that bloody Arteta. Unbelievable.
Sorry to talk like the production side of things here, but if you go onto the live control room, Hugh, you might be able to get it live from there, mate.
Yeah, I'm literally just trying to multitask. Yeah.
You were doing well.
Yeah.
I'm saying that gone. No, this is right. I thought you said. I'm saying that Arteta Pulis, like all they do is need like a strong forward, and he's going for another defensive midfielder. They've got like 4 in that midfield, and he's going for another one in the summer.
Jorginho
honestly,
and Thomas Partey coming to the end of their contracts, so at the end of the summer we'll have 2 left.
You got Moreno, you got Rice. I mean, is that really the priority?
Bringing in top quality players is a priority, yeah. So he will be a top quality addition, and someone who I reckon will start with Rice, which is it's going to be very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous for the rest of the league. 2 of the best at what they do, who will be able to play their preferred roles. I would think it will transform Arsenal. Honestly, I
haven't understood the sort of abuse almost that Arsenal have been given this week for according to the reports, agreeing personal terms and getting a deal ready for the summer for one of the best DMs, for one of the best DMs in the world. I really don't understand the sort of the frustration that people have given, and it's stupid, especially as you say with Jorginho and Partey being on their way out. It makes absolute sense to do this.
It's
surely.
Stupid, Terry. It's stupid. Why is Zubimendi going there? There's no mountains in London. He told us he wanted to stay in Spain because of the mountains. What's he going to London for? There's no mountains. Ridiculous decision.
Yeah. How gutted are you? A scale of 1 to 10 about Zubimendi, Chris?
9. We did so much research into him, and when you just fall in love with a player because of that and stuff like that. I just think he would be a perfect sort of metronome in the middle of the park that you sort of put the ball through a little bit like maybe what Thiago was supposed to be for us or something like that. So yeah, I am gutted, but listen, Sim mentioned it before. I think in Gravenberg we've got a different style of midfielder, but yeah, he's top quality, Zubimendi.
Were you photoshopping him in a Liverpool shirt, or you didn't go that far?
I mean, on my personal account, yeah. They were just for me. Nothing on the official Red Men channels or anything like that. You know what I mean? But he's a quality player. He is a quality player, and I can see how he'd be perfect for Arteta, to be honest. Who's winning this one?
Henry tripped.
Henry. Henry, do you know that's a good hand?
Three of a kind twice he's had now so far in this game. He's doing all right, isn't he?
He's doing all right.
Oh, the blinds have already gone up.
They've gone up. All right.
The blinds have gone up.
Under the gun. Henry leading the way.
We're going to get on against Villa this weekend. What are we saying?
I think if they put in a similar performance to what they did against Spurs, I actually think they'll struggle. I think they might draw. I'm not saying they'll lose. I still think they're a good team, but I think Villa are a lot more solid than Spurs. Obviously, their forward line at the moment, Watkins is in good form. They're just a lot fresher. Obviously, we know Spurs have got injuries and whatever, and obviously the North London derby was horrendous. But I think Villa are a different kind of animal. And I just look at Arsenal at the moment, and I think they might need that bit extra quality to take them over the line against Villa. And I don't know if they'll have it in this game. I think Villa might come and get a draw. You saw what Unai Emery did last year. He really did a job of them at the Emirates to stop them winning the league. And that was like a proper tactical masterclass. And I think Emery has it up his sleeve. And I feel like Sunday that might happen again.
Who do you think will start up front? Do you think it will be direct? Because Watkins, he got the winner against Everton, didn't he? And that was, Everton had some chances, to be fair. Obviously, they couldn't score in a brothel right now. But I think if they go with Duran, I think that'll be a much better matchup, Duran against Saliba and Gabriel. Whereas I know Watkins scored at the Emirates last year, but I think the Watkins of this season, I think Arsenal will deal with him a little bit better. But they're on a high, aren't they? Like, Arsenal are on a high from beating us. We haven't been stopped hearing about it all week. But if the good thing about from an Arsenal perspective is they will know the Liverpool result before they play their game. So, I guess that's something.
I am so glad I got out of the hand because I had a 9 as well, Sim.
You had a 9.
I had a 9.
My God,
so I was going all in. I folded before the second 9 came up, and I was gutted. If you watch it back, I go, oh no! Right, this shit means fucking business now, lads.
Here we go.
You know what I mean? Here we go. It's poker time, yeah. Oh yeah.
What are you going to do here, Chris? What are you going to do?
I'm going to fold, mate.
Oh, he's all that mouth, but he folded.
I'm glad I did. I did.
Oh, why did I fold?
Oh, okay. So no one now can play the jack in their hands. Is that what you're doing, Henry?
Yeah, that was.
Having a bit of a punt here. Oh no. Oh no.
I don't believe that.
No. I didn't have anything. I had two hearts, so I nearly had what I needed, but I needed another heart to come out. So yeah, I had to fold then. I had to fold. 3 sixes.
Oh, full house again.
Sim is unbelievable.
Wow. 2 full houses, incredible.
On the bounce as well, was
that?
Mad.
That is incredible.
That's mad, yeah. On the bounce, yeah.
Emery, I want to pull up on something you said, and Sim, I don't think Arsenal are that bad against you guys. Their finishing wasn't there. But for most of that game, they pinned you back. They passed through you. If they perform, if their finishing is like that, then they could lose. But if they perform in terms of the approach play against Aston Villa, it'll be the better side. It's just whether they can put the ball in the back of there. Because I think 2-1 flattered you. It was more of a 4-5 nil game than anything else. You guys are really bad.
Yeah, but we've got big we've got big problems in our backline. You're pressing us with the players that we got. An 18-year-old playing at the back who's not a centre back. You got Dragoshin, who's got big problems on the ball. You got Spence, who's not really playing on his right side as well. So pressing us right now is not the prospect of pressing an Aston Villa side who have got much better players breaking their press and playing out the back, in my opinion, right now than we do. I think if we had our first choice, I think they would have a lot more difficulty, like they did last season at the Emirates, pressing us than they did this season. I think, look, that's my whole point about Arsenal. They are clearly a very well coached team. They're very well set up. They're very well coordinated. Arteta's had a lot of time with them. Was this his 6th year with Arsenal? And clearly he's coached them to their pressing game's fantastic when they're on their game, and they're very, very aggressive. They're very hard to beat their press, and they're extreme when you go long as well. We went on long to Solanke many times, and Gabriel and Saliba are gobbling it up, and it was very, very difficult to play against them 100%. But I feel like Aston Villa are going to be a bit of a different animal, and they will be a bit fresher. I think they will have better players in their backline to kind of beat their press, and they're not scared to kind of play a low block and play a bit pragmatic, unlike us who are not quite used to doing it. We're not kind of the side to do that. I just felt like Arsenal, it was, yes, they won the game, don't get me wrong, but look at the goals they scored. It was like corner was an own goal. That wasn't a corner as well, and it was an own goal. It was like a bit of a nonsense goal. And then the second goal, yeah, fair enough, they won the ball in the middle of the park, but Kinski should have saved that. It wasn't a great shot. And so I'm looking at their forward line. I'm just saying, even in the game they won, they're lacking quality. I'm sorry, they are lacking quality. And the number of openings they had, which they didn't take advantage of. And I think it's symptomatic of what I've seen from them since Saka's been injured, like against Newcastle, like against Brighton. There's just a lack of quality in that front line without Saka. And I think the London derby was another more evidence of that, despite the fact they won the game 2-1. Because I think if they had a competent forward line, it would have been a lot worse.
I reckon you love talking about Arsenal, don't you, Sim?
I love talking about Arsenal. Oh,
you
I hate
love talking about Arsenal.
I hate watch. I like a hate watch. I tell you something, we've got more chance of winning something this season than Arsenal.
Oh God, I don't mean it. I don't mean it horribly. My dad's a Spurs fan, right? So
I'm going to say it.
Yeah, but I don't mean it rudely. Where do Tottenham fans get the confidence to speak like this from? In general, I mean,
it's just a fact. We're in 3 competitions, they're in 2, so we have more chance of winning.
You don't, but again, based on. You don't win anything.
We're in 3.
You don't we're in 3 and they're in 2.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said we're in 2.
No, we're in 3 and they're in 2.
No.
Right? So we have more chance of winning something than ours. And we're in the semi-final. We're in the Europa League. So unless Arsenal win the Champions League or the league, which I don't think they're going to win,
you ain't winning the Europa League though. There's no way Spurs can do it.
Why not?
You've got 5 points out of your previous 27 available in the league. That is not the type of form that wins you major trophies.
Yeah, but there's context to that. I understand that that's the situation right now, and it's not good enough. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not happy with the situation we're in, and there's a lot of reasons why that we are in this situation. I don't think it's just on the manager, but I do think we got a couple Europa League games coming up. We need to get probably 4 points from 2, and we'll be in that top 8. If we are in that top 8, right, then we're not going to see Europa League football again until March. Come that time, we're going to have all our defenders back, maybe a signing or 2 this window. We could be in a completely different situation. We've seen at the beginning of the season, when we had all our players, yes, we were a bit of an inconsistent team, but when we were good and when we were at our best, we were absolutely blowing teams away. When we've won games this season, we've won them, all of them actually, by 3-goal margins, by 4 or 5 goals, 3 or 4 goals. That's perfect for knockout football. And when we do lose games, we tend to lose them by the odd goal. So if you look at knockout games, that's usually that's actually pretty well suited to play knockout football. Now, at the moment,
understand that, but
I'm saying at the moment, since
that run of games at the beginning of Big Ange's time at your club, since then he's on a 31% win ratio, and that's with players out, all your players back, winning 31% of your games. I don't understand where the confidence of winning a trophy comes from when you only win 30% of your matches. That's all I'm asking. Forget Arsenal for a minute. I'm
not talking about Arsenal. I'm not saying we are going to win a trophy. I'm just saying that I can see the logic in thinking that when we're at our best, we can be a very good cup team because we can blow teams away when we're on our day. We only don't have to be on our day that consistently to be a good cup team, right? And yes, since Ange's, you're right, since that first 10 games, it hasn't been great. It hasn't been good, at all. It hasn't been good enough. Don't get me wrong. But I think, again, there's context to that. After the first 10 games, we had 5 injuries or something in one game against Chelsea. We then went on to lose, I think, the next 5 games. And then between that period and the last, I think, 7 games of the season, we're actually getting top 4 form. Right, we're hitting over 2 points a game. Now, in the last 7 games of last season, I think we lost 5 and won 2. But the 5 we lost were the top 5. They were the top 5 team. So, look, we had very hard games. Again, no excuse for losing all of them. But there's, again, context to it. This season, right, we had quite inconsistent form at the beginning. I think we probably should have gotten more points than we did earlier in the season, but obviously we dropped some silly points. But I think, again, we saw against Villa, against Man United at Old Trafford, we saw against West Ham, we saw at the Etihad. We had some really good performances, right? We had City in the Cup as well. We could blow teams away when we're on our game, but we also were capable of dropping silly points against Palace and Ipswich, and that comes with a young team that is obviously still has a lot of growing up to do, and a team that has to grow together, of course. And maybe as well, we definitely didn't do enough in the summer in terms of the business. And then, obviously, I think after that inconsistent start, we then hit a massive injury crisis, which has led to 4 centre-backs being out, 2 left-backs being out, 2 goalkeepers being out. We basically got no defenders. We've also had 3 forwards out, so we're playing all the same players. So that's led to... But wait, all the defeats we've had...
There's a lot of excuses here. Yeah. There's a lot of excuses here. I want to throw it to the rest of the panel. Chris, do you agree with what Sim's saying here, that all those reasons are why they've got a 31% win ratio and they're going to win a trophy?
That contributes, I'm saying. It's not the whole reason.
Of course,
it contributes.
yeah, I think Sim's right there. It definitely contributes. I think for me, if I was a Tottenham fan, like I truly believe that every manager should be given time. But I think I said this last week, you can give the wrong man time as well. And I think for me, Ange Postecoglou looks like he's the wrong man. I would much rather have someone like a Thomas Frank, who's a bit more pragmatic, who realises that it's a results-based business and go out there and get results. When Brentford were playing in the Championship, they played expansive football. When Brentford come into the Premier League, he sits back and he makes himself hard to beat and all that type of stuff. He knows that it's about winning points. Now, right now, Brentford 10th in the league, are they? Something like that, third best home form, third worst away form. You know, for me, I would much rather have my manager realise that it's about winning and not style of football. You know, you can have a style of football and you essentially, you earn the right to have a style of football by putting points on the board. You don't get to play fancy football and not put points on the board. That's mental to me.
Well, we finished 5th last season, so we did. You know what I mean? And then this
season he's not.
One sec, what am I doing here? I'm following. This season, I think, look, again, there are reasons for that. I don't think we would be in this position if it wasn't for, look, you remember that season, you know better than most, Chris, you know, when Liverpool had that massive injury crisis under Klopp, when Van Dijk got injured and you had no centre-backs and you were losing at home to Burnley and losing at home to all these teams, like record defeats. I know you turned it around late in the season, right? But that really derailed your season.
Massively.
Injury crisis.
Yeah, no, I get
and
the problems.
that's what's happening. And that's what's happening with us, I think, at the moment. And
honestly,
we shouldn't be 14th.
But
I get we shouldn't be 14th.
Yeah, exactly. And what Klopp realised in the end that season was just to play two centre-halves, any centre-halves, instead of dropping midfielders back. And that was Klopp's mistake that he rectified when he went to Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. Do you know what I mean?
So he's got to have that time to rectify
I understand where you're coming from. I just view it and think to myself, if a couple of results go against you this weekend, including yourselves losing, you could be 4 points away from the relegation zone. And all I'm stating is I get all the mitigating factors, but that level of form wouldn't make me believe that my club is going to win a trophy. That was the premise of the argument.
Didn't Man United win an FA Cup last year being in a similar position?
Man United, to compare my club to Tottenham.
No, forget the club size. Forget the club size.
No, but that plays a part in it because the heritage...
Well, comparable in the league.
I'll give you an example, right? If we were to put a bet on any one of our teams in a big Champions League night to deliver, my money first goes on Liverpool. Almost irrespective of the team that's out on the pitch, because their fans would handle it better than a Spurs fan would, because they've been there, done it, worn the T-shirt. The whole club, your history plays a part in a lot of them big games, cup semi-finals, cup finals, players that have been to finals on multiple occasions. That's a very good win. Very, very good win there. Very good win there, Hugh. So I get your point. I understand everything you've said about
I'm
where
not
you are in
saying
the league.
we are winning. I'm not saying we are winning a trophy. I'm just saying the way we play football, once we get our players back, right, our day we can blow teams away. We've shown that more. We've shown that actually more than once this season. And that's perfect for cup football, is it not?
Maybe.
And I think it's perfect for a two-legged tie. I think it's perfect for a two-legged tie.
We shall see. Another big game this weekend, Chris. You go away to Brentford, you drop some points in your last two league games. Are you confident that you can get the job done this week?
Yeah, I think Liverpool have had a little bit of a struggle recently. Certainly going back to the Manchester United game. And if you look back probably last season as well, actually Man United and Everton results were probably what derailed our season more than any others. So hopefully that's not the same thing this time around. I am confident. Like, it'd be unusual for a Saturday 3:00 kickoff. You don't get many of them anymore. But I do respect Brentford. I do think they're a really good side. You know, I think in Wisher and Buemo, they've got two guys there, 24 goals in the league between them and stuff like that. So, you know, serious work for probably Andy Robertson or Kostas Tsimikas, and that's probably, you know, a question mark for Liverpool fans as to which one of them you'd play at left back. But I think for me, I've got a fancy that we'd get the job done there, to be honest with you. And if we want to win the title, we have to get the job done there, actually.
I can see you dropping points again. I think Brentford they're up until recently, they were so strong at the GTEC.
you're right. All the results are against Newcastle, aren't they? And City, I think the one probably standout there is losing to Plymouth in the FA Cup, which was a massive shock. But they have been absolutely brilliant, and the sides that have beat them are very good sides.
I just feel like they got so many injuries in their back line. I just think your firepower will be too much. I just can't see them and I think they've lost, 2 of their last 3 home games. I know they drew with City, but they lost to Forest and they lost to Arsenal, and fairly comfortably as well. I just look at Liverpool's front line and I just think they should have too much for them. And just because the injuries there, and I can't see them kind of holding up to scrutiny. But Mbeumo and Wissa are such a danger, and always in these games. They're the two most underrated kind of forward duo in the league. They are unbelievable in a transition, just attacking space. They are just phenomenal. I'm such a big fan of them, and I think whoever gets Mbeumo is going to be a lucky team. And I think he's destined for a top 6 move this summer. Absolutely destined for it.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind. I'd like a little bit of Mbeumo, you know.
Would you take him to replace Salah?
Replace Salah? No. I'd rather Salah sign a contract.
I like Mbeumo though. He's good.
He's a great player. I would like him. Absolutely. This is big. This feels big.
Oh. What's going on here? I was wondering where I went all quiet. I see Terry, you're on dicey territory here, Terry.
I know I am.
You're on dicey territory.
He's got it.
Oh, Terry! It's just
I needed it.
I needed that.
I needed it. I went out on a bit of a whim on that one. I won it with a pair, mate. A fucking pair. There we go.
Wow.
I feel a bit better now. I feel a little better now.
I'll tell you what,
I like Mbeumo,
considering we know how much work Hugh's doing behind the scenes here, Hugh's doing amazing in the poker for how little he's concentrating on it.
Hugh's doing brilliantly in the poker because he hasn't spoke for half an hour.
Honestly, I'm trying to do so much technical stuff behind the scenes. I wish you knew. Can we talk about Tottenham though? Because we focused on Arsenal and how we're,
You missed the whole Tottenham game. I'm joking. Go on.
And I would like to talk about Tottenham because, I see this as statistically, potentially anyway, the worst season in Premier League history for Spurs. I don't know how you're so confident you're going to win a trophy.
I'm not. I never said we
Especially
will.
when
I never
the
said we
manager
will.
who you just got rid of is flying and actually involved in the title race. I am questioning.
Have a poker face, Henry. Come on.
I'm questioning exactly how he's still in the job at this point, in all honesty.
Hugh, I have been very vocal on this, and I think the reason he's still in the job is because we are in the cup. We're doing well in the cups. That is it. If we get knocked out of the League Cup by Liverpool, which we have to go to Anfield and win, which we don't have a great record there. If we get dunked out that night, the tide will turn massively. I guarantee it. If we go and beat Liverpool at Anfield, we'll be on cloud 9 and in a final and potentially 90 minutes away from silverware. But my personal prediction is, come May, we will still be the bottom half of the table with no silverware. And I just want to know what everyone's thoughts are going to be then. Because he's tactically...
Then he'll be gone. He'll be gone if that's the case. Yeah.
Well,
he'll be gone.
So you're saying you're banking on the cups rather than league right now? Because I think...
I'm banking on the league form turning around so we're not bottom half at least. And then
do you think there's any evidence of that turning
cup.
Around though? Like, do you think there's any evidence of that?
Well, right now, no, because the situation hasn't changed for 2 months. We've been in the same situation. Nothing's changed in terms of the state of the squad. We've had the same injury problems. We haven't got any players back. It's just the same. So nothing. What we were experiencing 2 months ago is the same now. So until that changes, I don't think the results will change. But that is going to change in the next week or so. We are going to start to get players back and hopefully get some signings through the door. And I do believe that will be a big change. I'm not saying we're going to go on this mad winning run where we win 10 in a row. But I do think the form will start to improve. I definitely think so. And then, again, as I said, we're not going to be in Europa League until hopefully March if we finish in that top 8. And so come that time, we could be in a completely different situation. Who knows what momentum we'll be in? And we'll definitely have a lot of the defenders back, which we've been missing for months and months. And we could be a different team at that point. So that's why I'm banking. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen or it's definitely going to happen. And to answer Hugh's question, why is he still in the job? You're absolutely right in terms of most Tottenham managers at this point would be sacked by now, 100%. Tottenham managers have been sacked for less. Most managers that have that we've had in previous years, if they'd been sacked way before this, then Ange has had a lot more leeway than most other managers in his position. But I think the reality
Why do
is,
you think that is?
yeah, I can tell you why, because once we let Conte go, we needed to go in a completely different direction. We needed to completely change the playing style of the team. We needed to completely lower the average age of the team. We needed to start a whole different project. We needed to completely revamp the whole footballing side of this football club, which we were supposed to be a football club, but we seem to spend more of our interest on Beyonce concerts and all these different things for the stadium. But we needed to completely revamp the footballing side, and we've brought in Ange Postecoglou to do that. And I think they want to stick with this project until it comes until they really believe that there's no chance it can work. And right now, I think their understanding of the circumstances with the injuries and all that kind of stuff, they want to basically. I read an article today that was posted in the Telegraph. They were saying that sources close to Levy really feel that they've been doing the same thing for the past 3 managers, going through this 18-month cycle where we start well, we get to 18 months, and then it seems to be breaking down, and we sack the manager and start a new cycle again. And it just keeps rinse and repeat. And we need to break that cycle. We need to actually stick with something, even when it looks like it's dicey territory. And right now, it's dicey. And right now, we're doing badly. Huh?
This hand's mental.
Who wins?
Oh my God. Did I win?
Did you fuck?
No,
smashed
it.
Oh my God.
How quickly is a tide turned, eh?
Yes. You want to challenge anything on that, Hugh, in relation to Spurs manager being sacked, or can we get back
I'm
to
just
Liverpool?
saying. I'm just saying if they're going to they should stick with him. If they want to go down that route, I think the right path is to stick with him. If you can really see a pathway, look, they're obviously going to be talking to the players. They're going to be asking him if apparently he's still got the backing of the players, and apparently they're still with him. So if that's the case, I think we should wait till the players come back, try and back him in January, and see if he can turn it around. But obviously, right now, well, I completely agree. Where we are is not acceptable, and if come the end of the season we're in a similar position and no silverware, he's got to go. I agree with that. But right now, there's still time to turn it around.
Can I ask a question about Liverpool from you guys, if that's all right? We're getting absolute pelters this week online for not talking about our owners. What do you think of Liverpool's owners?
I actually think you've got. I understand that people will say that if we can park a moment aside when they've done the ticket prices and trademarking Liverpool for a moment, because that's all been called out before, and I think Liverpool fans have been really good and consistent surrounding that. I think they've generally speaking, their product's gone really well. And what I mean by that is they've made you European champions of England, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of that is great. The transition from Klopp to Slot, for me, is always a sign here. Oh, hang on, we're going big on this. Here we go.
We've gone
big on this. We've gone big on this. Oh, I think I know what he's got, though. I think I know what he's got. Looking at those first 3 numbers, that's the problem.
He's only checked.
I'm just going to check. He's gone all in.
Oh!
I might come last, but I'm going for it.
What has happened?
Oh my God!
Get in!
It's going to be a free. Be a free as I'm out. Be a free. All right, open it. Hey, I'm done.
Terry's done.
No, I'm out.
Don't worry, you get a point, Terry. You get a point. Don't worry.
I come second last week. Oh no. Oh well, I'm done.
It should be easier to host now, Terry, anyway.
Yes, no, it should be. I had to play. I went for it. In for a penny, out for a pound. But there we go. Always a bit of fun. Yeah, so on your owners, look, there are things that they're not great at. I think what they're doing right now, the problem is that whenever you say an ownership is good, you will get this sort of reaction of, yeah, but what about these bad things? No one is perfect. No owner is perfect, in my opinion. I'm also looking for a play from a perception of, I've had the Glazers as well, but I think you've put a really good project together. You've developed a title-winning team. You look like you've got a second title-winning team. Transitioning from manager to manager is a massive thing as well. You've made mistakes along the way. Not getting Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk's contracts sorted sooner than this it's horrendous, and it should absolutely be called out. But I don't think you have bad owners. They run the club well. You make money. You have no PSR problems. You've been consistent challengers and consistent winners for 6 or 7 or 8 years. You've only been pipped to more titles by one of the greatest English teams of all time. I don't think you have terrible owners. Could they do better in certain circumstances? Yes. But I think overall, I think you have very good people running your football club who are not putting you in a position that Hicks and Gillette did, where they could have put you out of business. Doesn't mean they're perfect, though. But yeah, I think overall, you've got very good owners.
What's the big problem with the owners?
I
don't really understand it.
It's around spending, obviously transfers and stuff like that. I think, for me, I don't really see it, but like it does seem to be a massive talking point at the moment where people are just fuming about Liverpool not signing players. But like not signing players has worked really well for us this summer. I want Liverpool to strengthen, by the way. I think Liverpool need a new left back. I think we need a new number 9. And then not to mention, if none of those 3 players sign, there's another 3. You could be talking a complete and utter rebuild. So in some ways, I actually understand the hesitancy, to not spend in this January because you don't know what business you need to do in the summer, and there's not there's a finite pot of money, isn't there? So, but listen, it is all about spending. It's all about transfers, and I think a lot of stuff that people saying, like a lot of it is like, well, if we'd have spent more, we'd have won more titles. That may or may not be true, to be honest with you, because City might still have won it. But with us running close a couple of times and losing by a point, I think the general consensus would be Liverpool should have spent money in those Januaries and we would have won league titles. It doesn't always work out like that, though.
Yeah, centre back, I think, as well, potentially you need.
Yeah, definitely. And we needed that in the summer as well. And, I think for me, I don't really understand it because I don't think it's the owners that aren't spending. I think it's probably the director of football. And I think we're in a real good position whereby it's actually really hard to improve Liverpool's squad. Like you need to be world class and you need to be the right player at the right age and all this type of stuff. I just don't think it's as easy as any player will do anymore. Whereas, pre-Klopp, God, anyone would have improved us. We were that shit at times.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, Liverpool do spend and have spent in Premier League history absorbent amounts of money. I remember looking at these stats they're not stat, they're just facts really, which stats are. In the Fergie era of the Premier League, they outspent Fergie by about 80 or 90 million when you add it all up. Yes, with what Chelsea have done in the last few years, they're ahead of everybody, and Man United have overspent. But the reason we've overspent in the last decade is we kept on getting it wrong, so we had to keep chasing our tails. But it's not as though Liverpool have spent no money. And one thing about Liverpool fans that frustrates me is how they try and sometimes, look, we barely spend any money compared to the other members of the top 6. What we're doing is a fairy tale. Not really. You broke world records for a goalkeeper, for a centre-back. You spent 70 million on Darwin Núñez and it hasn't worked out. If you look at your wage structure is very good in the sense it's really...
We pay a lot of money out in wages.
And wages are the biggest... And still
Exactly.
Football fans focus on transfer fees and the dreaded net spend. It doesn't exist in football. Clubs don't use it in any capacity, in any calculation. It's got to stop. Your wage bill is the biggest focus a club has when it comes to finances. And if you look at Liverpool's wage bill, it is astronomical.
And by the way, we are all going in here, guys.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Let's have a little look at this. Let's have a little look.
One. 4 of us in there.
Oh.
It's a great flop for me.
See, some people are looking here. Some people are looking at straights. Some people are looking at straights. When you look at those numbers, we're looking at some straights here, people. But let's see.
I'm on to you checking me into fucking betting, Hugh, by the way.
Sims just put a big amount in. Henry's got in.
Two big amounts
Henry.
in there. Potential.
Wow.
Is Hugh going all in?
Oh,
Here we
here we
go.
He's gone all
I
in.
knew I was on to you.
Falling off
I'm
your
going to
boxes.
fold, lad.
Right.
Oh!
So I just don't know where it's gone. I don't know what you guys have got. This is great.
Side pots.
All
Side
in.
pots.
Come on.
Size all in as well. What's Emery? Emery's going to bottle it, isn't he? He's going to absolutely bottle it.
No, he's gone for it.
Oh,
We need there's a potential flush as well.
Oh my God.
Oh, no, there
there
isn't.
is.
No, there isn't.
No. No, there would have been.
Henry?
No.
What's happened here?
What's he
Nothing.
got?
Is it aces?
Sims
oh,
won.
oh, Hugh, you
Fuck
were
aces,
alive.
what a
for-
time
Hang
to
on a
get
minute.
it.
Look at this. Number 1 and number 2 last week are out
Knocked
first
them
this
two
week.
out.
Crazy.
Mate.
Crazy.
Thought I was on for a royal flush then. I was thinking,
But
we are
that's
well in it.
A royal flush?
how
No,
would
you don't know what a
how
royal.
would you
Oh, no, straight flush.
Straight flush.
Flush it down the toilet.
I'm basically
Henry.
all in here, aren't I?
Yeah,
pretty
you
much,
kind of
yeah.
fall in there, Henry. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
The interesting thing
well.
for me of that one is Hugh just went live to show his
Yeah, I was live for
to
about
go
1
out.
I love it.
God.
When it comes to technology, Hugh, you honestly like my great uncle. Do you know what I
I
mean?
have done exactly. I'm not going to get started.
Old Henry.
Exactly
Oh.
what I did last time, which
Maybe obviously didn't though, did you?
I literally did. I mean, but yeah, whatever it is has just magically started working all of a sudden. Not that
Henry, you're in
I've
so
changed
much trouble because you got no money left. Sorry, Hugh.
Yeah, you kind of. Henry's got to do something here.
You got to do something. The blinds is just going to take you
You're
out.
going to get
like,
blinded out.
you need to do something here, Henry.
Oh, he's called.
He called it. He's called it.
Go on,
I'm
Chris.
gonna be all in here.
Yeah, but I don't know what you got, so I don't have a good, bad, or indifferent. What card you got? Let us know. What card you got, Henry?
I'm out here.
But again, there's a potential straight on here. So
Come on. You got to do something. You're pretty much
Mate,
blinded
might as
out.
well-
I mean,
You might as
I've
well.
got
There you go.
absolutely nothing and probably worse cards than him, but I kind of have to call. So let's see it.
All right.
let's see. Oh,
Oh, no, you don't have worse cards than him.
oh
Wait,
no,
he
I bet
can
he
still
gets
get
a
a
three.
straight.
I bet a free comes out here or another
3.
seven. What's it going to be?
Oh, it
That'll
could be a
do.
4.
No, it's
Oh,
queen.
queen.
Ooh. Yeah, if it was a
All right, me up against Chris now.
Henry's out and all. There we go. Just you two with all the chips. Boys that are out, did you guys enjoy Ahmad's performance last night?
Yeah, he's
quality, isn't
Cool.
he? He's your best player by a mile. He's like the only one that's come out of this new Amorim era looking good, apart from I would say Mazraoui and actually Xerxes a little bit. I like him, man. He should have been given a chance earlier than this, and it was painful to watch Anthony come on and miss from almost inside the goal.
Why was he
Going to the
sliding?
line
Why
with
did he
it.
slide?
I think he did it for effect. He did it for a bit of effect because it kind of it's just so stupid. He's been, but
I
no,
think
you're
that's
right.
harsh. I do think that's harsh. I think that's harsh. I get why people are asking why he's fallen down, but I think the lower you go, the more chance you have of being careful to connect properly.
A good point.
I think he's doing it with the right intention. It's just that's life for him right now, isn't it?
No,
he can't do anything right.
I do agree. I think it's like a lot of United. So the Xerxes thing is so interesting. 3 weeks ago, jeered off. And in fairness, a lot of the Man United fans that go to games have spoke out about this, and they weren't. Some of them were definitely having a pop at him. A lot of them have said that they were actually just kind of cheering that a sub was made because everyone was calling for it from almost 5 minutes in. It weren't working. However, like the away fans looked after him the next 3 games. But I just loved his attitude when he came on yesterday. He just absolutely gave it his all. He grabbed the grain by the scruff of the neck. But this is why I think United fans, win, lose, or draw, feet have got to be firmly on the ground. We are ripping the whole script up. We're creating a brand new style of football that we've never had at the club before. It's going to take years, and it will take years. And 3 weeks ago, Xerxes, the sort of enemy of the way we're trying to play. 3 weeks later, he's a hero. And it will flip around again a number of times. And the manager's pre-warned this on so many occasions. Let's just keep our feet on the ground. Let's don't overhype anyone. Let's don't go in too harsh on anybody. But you could see at Old Trafford, there was such a nervousness in the way we played. And we just kind of let Southampton come on at us. When we played, oh, hang on here. He's gone all in.
All in.
Wow.
Well, that means
I'm actually considering it.
he's got a 3 and a 4, hasn't he? I'm just gonna he's got a 3 and a 4, or he's got a 9. What are you doing?
I got ace 10. Nothing there.
Nah, you can't do it.
I can't do it. I feel like all right.
But yeah, no, I was really impressed. And Ahmad, you're so right. The fact that he was not getting game time under Ten Hag was crazy because he's just brilliant. He really is. And I know it took us till late in the game, but he's hat-trick in itself. I loved every single part of it. It was brilliant. I just hope we can replicate that last 20, 30 minutes of the game from the start against Brighton because we need to get a run of wins under our belts to go a bit of confidence, you know. We really need that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. I think you're giving maybe the team a little bit too much credit. Southampton were very, very impressive.
They were.
For the first half, I thought they dominated. They should have been 4-0 up.
They should have been. They should have been. When I talk about United, though, when we went to Anfield, we were aggressive. We wanted the ball. We were confident in our first touch. We pressed them hard. We even pushed them back for periods of the game. Against Southampton, and Ahmad was part of this. Our wing backs just sat back. We invited them on, and I felt as though that they were coming at us hard and that they were giving it their all. Southampton, they played well, but we didn't want to. I know you watch boxing. We didn't lay a glove, and I felt what we had, and we did it more when Xerxes came on. We had to make them respect us a little bit more, and I felt like we just sat there and rolled over and let them tickle our bellies. And I'm not trying to take anything away from them at all. But
it did show the difference, though, between a player who's got the ability to, hold it up and bring others into play with Xerxes as opposed to Højlund, who really does seem to be struggling at this level.
Yeah, he certainly is. But I'm confident. The one team I wanted to speak about on the show really today was Chelsea, and what you guys make of no win in 5. The fans are kind of turning on each other, especially the Pochinners and Poch-outers. They're kind of rehashing it out as they always do at Chelsea.
So he swerved that one away from United swiftly.
No, it's just listen. Do you know what it is? I talk so much about United. I wanted to speak Chelsea a little bit before the end of the show, really, because it's no win in 5 is really bad for a team that 4 weeks ago was 11 points ahead of Newcastle. They're now behind them. If the results go wrong for them this weekend, they could be sitting in 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a team that people were talking about title races only 4 weeks ago, and suddenly they could be sitting 8th. It's not great.
Do you think teams have figured them out? Because I think when we was early December and they was on like a really good patch of form, and Cole Palmer was scoring goals and Jackson was performing. Now they've kind of...
I was going to call, I had you there.
You would have called me.
I would have called you, yeah.
Now I just think that they've dropped off individually. Like, I don't think... Palmer is still scoring like ridiculous goals. He sat that goalkeeper down and he's just got something about him. But the rest, they've also got big centre-back problems, haven't they? Like, they're playing that Josh... is it Akapong? Is his surname? He's an 18-year-old right-back and they're playing him in centre-back, similar to what Spurs are doing with Archie Gray. And the only really senior centre-back they've got is performing is Colwill, because the Sassy is, trash, and Fofana's now out to the end of the season. That's what they've had to call back Chalobah, and they're obviously looking at Gahey. I think once they get a centre-back back in next to Colwill, also Lavia as well, his best performance, like in terms of 45 minutes, was against us. He was unreal that first half. He hasn't played a huge amount of football since because of injury, which is kind of coincidental, gone with their form. But 5 games without a win against teams like Fulham, Fulham, Palace, Bournemouth, and 2 other teams. Like, if you want to be in and around the top 4, you've got to do better there. And like you said, Terry, if the result doesn't go their way, I said this on the Top 6 show yesterday. I think I was saying it, was it Dan that was on yesterday? Yeah. If these results carry on, just a question that's open to the panel, do you think Chelsea will regret hiring Enzo Maresca? Because everyone compared them heavily to the Arsenal process. Get a young manager who's, let's be honest, Maresca's experience was at Leicester and Parma he was awful, and he nearly bottled a Championship leader 15 points against a less intense, less strong league.
I'm sorry to interject. So guys, I'm sorry to interject. It's just been announced that Dennis Law, the Man United and Scotland legend, that has just passed away.
Oh,
sorry to bring the mood down, but
wow.
Dennis Law, one of the last standing member of the Holy Trinity of my club. Oh, that's I know we're having fun on this show, but yeah.
How old, he must have been in his 80s. How old is he?
84, I believe he was. So, yeah, absolute gentleman, great player. I mean, one of the best sort of Ballon d'Or level winner, Champions League. Oh, great. Sad. The last one of the 3 now, but
yeah, and thoughts obviously go out to his family and everything as well, and all Manchester United fans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and not every channel watching it supports United, but I think there's always a lot of respect when these things happen because of the level. But yeah, RIP to him. So yeah, sorry to interject. I apologize.
I was just going to say, like, do you guys think just to the panel, if they do lose this weekend and they are down in 8th, do you guys think they will regret hiring Maresca? Because if this was Poch right now, I know the performances at the end of the season improved, but the daggers were out for him when they went off a cliff. Are they in that position right now? They could be 6 games without a win.
Mate, Tottenham are 14th without a win in.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
Why are you bringing up Tottenham, Hugh? Why are you giving us strays?
Because
we're
there's
not
2 of
talking
you.
about Tottenham, Hugh. I ain't talking
There's
about
2 of
Spurs.
We're actually talking about Chelsea. Hugh.
Calling for
I get it. You
managers'
beat
head
us.
When
Fair
your
play.
own club cannot win a game of football. They've
Look,
got
we're 1
point
win in 9. They're
on the
nearly
last
winless in
available
6. They could be
19.
winless in 6. We're 1 win in 9.
What context,
get
though,
it.
Sim, what context would you give Chelsea? Because you spoke for like 28 minutes about your
I'm not a
context.
Chelsea fan, so I don't want.
Yeah, but
I'm not a Chelsea
you can be
fan.
fair and you can be fair and balanced, though, right? You can be fair and balanced.
Yeah, but I don't know the
Keep the energy
minutiae.
the same. Come on, Sim.
I don't know the minutiae of their kind of.
They've got a huge
circumstances.
centre back injuries.
All I know
That's what
is
they've got.
So, okay, I know last game they had on the bench they had Tosin Adarabioyo and they had like Disasi on the bench. I know they played an 18-year-old kid, but that was our choice. We're playing one out of necessity. It's a bit different. I know Chelsea spent 1.2 billion on players like in the summer. I've got no sympathy about size of the squad. We kind of didn't have that luxury for one reason or another. We didn't spend that money. We probably should have bought more. But Chelsea have spent how much? God knows how much money Chelsea has spent over the past 2 years.
Yeah, but you know what it is though when you make comments like that, Sim.
Yeah.
I'll call you out on this.
Go on.
If you say you don't understand the minutiae of their club, but then you call them out for things you don't understand.
You asked me to give me an opinion, so I'm giving my opinion.
You said you don't how can you give an opinion about something you don't understand? Half the players.
I said I don't know about Mariska. I don't know about minutiae, but in my opinion, I don't have sympathy.
Then you can't criticize if you don't understand. Half the players.
When was I criticizing?
By saying that you have talking about how much money
half the players they've bought.
That's crazy.
I never said wasted. When did I say they wasted money?
When did I say they wasted? You implied.
You said they spent over $1 billion.
I said they spent all that money. I've got no sympathy. No sympathy for lack of squad options.
Which implies.
At the same time, 70.
No, that's not what I've said at all. I'm saying people
keep talking. He keeps folding. Keep talking to him. He keeps folding.
You bastard. All I said was. Right,
Tottenham are rubbish.
They spend so much money, right? So I don't have sympathy when they're saying, well, the lack of squad options, all that money being spent. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying their squad's bad or that he should be sacked. I'm saying when I'm hearing Henry saying, oh, they've got problems at centre back. I know we do, but I'm saying they had centre backs on the bench when they played this 18-year-old, so they're playing him out of choice.
The 2
not
players
necessity.
are on the bench are likely to be sold. Disasi.
Tosin was on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think he was 100% fully fit, and I would argue that more than 60% of the players they have signed won't ever play for Chelsea.
The thing is as well, when Spurs fans say we ain't spent, I know that they've spent a lot, and a lot of Chelsea spending has been on players that are never going to play for the club, and they're going to sell for profit and increase their revenues. And I think I would say a good 50% of what they spent is on that. But Spurs in the last 3 years have spent, according to Transfermarkt, over 600 million euros.
Incredible.
This is what annoys me about Tottenham fans, including you, Dad, if you're watching, is you talk like you don't spend big like everybody else. And you've always got this excuse. 600 million in the last 3 summer transfer windows combined.
First of all, it's not compared to Chelsea. That's like a third of what they spent.
But what you're doing is you're missing the point. Chelsea haven't bought all those players for their first team squad. They've bought a lot of players to loan out
and so have we.
Sell for profits.
Bergvall, Gray, we've all
Bergvall and Gray play for your team.
Not every game.
What are you talking?
Yeah, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about players. A lot of the money that Chelsea have spent, if you go for their transfers, on all these youngsters that you've never heard of, they buy this one for 20 and this one for 15. They'll loan them out, and then in 6 months, a year, 2 years, they want to sell for a profit. And you'll see a lot of the money that Chelsea have invested in players will become profitable for them. Yet look how much they've spent on players for their actual first team over the last 3 years. It will be higher than what Tottenham has spent, but you're probably not talking double, 3 times like you feel. So I think it's important to understand that element of Chelsea's transfer strategy. It's to make more money in the future. And this is the thing. Spurs have got their excuses as well, and I understand it. But you might have spent over 600 million euros on this.
No, I get that. I'm not saying we haven't spent money. I'm saying compared to Chelsea, we haven't spent. That was my point. But I would say, yeah, we've spent money, and I think in the last 2 windows, I think the players we've bought in are good. Probably not enough of them is the problem. I think maybe obviously we spent like 50 million on Johnson. It was that the right appropriation of funds. Could we have gone for a high? I'm struggling here. I'm going to have to go all in at some point.
You're struggling to respond as well. It's 2 things you're struggling at right now.
All right, go on. Go on, I don't really have a good hand.
The one thing I will say is Tottenham.
Oh, are you serious? That's the hand you. Oh, come on.
Oh.
Come on.
No.
Go on. What's he going to be? That's it. Winner.
There
we
you
have a
go.
winner. We have a winner.
Very
Well
funny.
done, mate. Congratulations on the win. And viewers, remember, GGPoker has the biggest poker rooms on planet Earth. Great for some fun with you and your friends, or if you want to play online. But remember to always do it responsibly. You've got to be over the age of 18. And if you do it responsibly, it is a lot of fun indeed. So click on one of the links in any of our descriptions and take a little look at GGPoker now. They are also doing lots of giveaways this year, and up to £25 million is being given away as well. So take a look, but remember to always do it responsibly. Sim, go on. You can go back to making your excuses about wasting money now.
I'm not saying we haven't spent money, but obviously first we sold Harry Kane for 100 million, so we had to spend that money, and we had to completely rejuvenate the squad. But if you look at the numbers, we've left massive holes in our squad. Maybe that's our own fault. But I don't know what point I'm trying to make. I'm just saying we haven't spent as much as Chelsea. That was my whole point.
I think it's okay as long as you're willing to accept that Tottenham are essentially no longer part of the Big Six. They are no longer a Big Six club. And if you're willing to accept
Hang on.
Then what? What's the consequence willing to accept
hang
it?
on.
Right, hang on.
Who are the six? Who are the six?
Winning trophies. They're
Yeah,
all
who are the
involved
six?
in the race for the Champions League or the
So Nottingham Forest are in the Big
Champions
Six
League
now.
football. No, but essentially, like the expectation of
On Newcastle?
the expectation of Tottenham from their own fans is now different, because you are sat here talking about Chelsea and, you know, being in the same conversation or expecting a similar thing when really you're worlds apart, mate. You're worlds apart.
Yeah, of course we're worlds apart.
Yeah.
'cause-
The way that they're operating is it's in a complete another level.
If you give
The
Ange
willingness to
1.2
spend-
billion, it might be different, but yeah.
Well, yeah, there is a lot of money being
You
spent
gave
at
Ange
Chelsea, but there's always been a lot of money being spent in Chelsea the last 25 years.
You've given Big Ange 600 million, and you're in a relegation fight. So
Okay.
Incredible. I just don't understand.
Okay, Terry, let me
No.
ask you something. The money
He
we've
said 3
spent,
seasons. He's only been here for 2.
the money we've spent is not on a lot of the players aren't good enough quality. But would you agree if we had a better coach, we'd be a lot higher up the league?
I've said this about Spurs so many times that I think Ange is actually quite a good coach, but he needs a specific quality and type of player to make it work. He needs almost the best squad or second best squad in the league he's in to make it work. You lot need a manager that befits your football club. You need a manager that's going to be able, I know you spend a lot of money, but you can't attract the better players because Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea, City and Manchester United exist. And I just think sometimes, no
Unless
matter
you
how
give it
nice
time is the point. Unless you give it time.
You don't pay decent wages either, so you're not really.
and even then, it's about knowing where you're at. It's a case of
Okay, so how do we get to that level? If it's not going to be time and it's not Ange, who do we bring in to get to that back to that level?
So someone like the Bournemouth manager, it'd be perfect for you. He can get good quality performances out of good to average squads, and I mean that at the elite end of the spectrum. I'm talking about good to average squads, and it's about Spurs fans. And I know that I get a lot of stick for this, but Spurs fans also understanding who and what they are.
Well, we get told that every week because he keeps telling us it's who we are.
I'm understanding it. Hence why I'm willing to give Ange time. That's
But
why.
do you not
That's
think
me
you can also give the
understanding
wrong
it.
man time, Sim? Do you not
Of course
think
you can. Of course you can. I'm not saying he's definitely the right guy, but I'm willing to give him time to, like, you've got to give him the opportunity to fail.
So to the end of the season, we'll give him to the end of the season.
Yeah, 100%. End of the season.
And if we lose to Everton and we're 4 points off the relegation zone, you're still gonna 4 points.
Back him.
I'm still backing him.
Back him.
Look, who better to bring
He's
us
got
back
more
up?
support than the Samaritan, this guy.
Who better to bring us back up than Ange?
Who better to get you relegated? Really, honestly, I don't know whether you realise. Who was in charge for Spurs' worst Premier League season of all time?
This season,
David
in
Pleat?
21 games, he has the lowest points tally of any Tottenham manager. He's just overtaken Gross, and Gross averaged 1.29 points. He's currently on 1.22 points per game.
So
we've won
is there
7 of
anyone
21.
else? What about Juan de Ramos? What about that time?
No, he was in the 1.4s and he won a trophy.
Wow, incredible. Yeah. So I actually don't understand it at this stage. Like, I get this.
And Juan de Ramos didn't have 600
I
million.
sort of respect the backbone to stick with your philosophy, but at the same time, there's bravery and then there's stupidity, and it's a very thin line between the two of them. And I think he's crossing over.
Facts.
So.
I get that. Speaking of bravery, Man City have given out a 9.5-year deal to Erling Haaland, spent 200 odd million on players this window, investing nearly $500 million into the stadium. Many believe that is an indication that they are, quote unquote, getting off with the 130 charges that they're facing. Chris, do you think that? Do you think that's an indication that anyone who's expecting them to be found guilty or indeed heavily punished if they were, do you think the spending and the contracts are an indication that they are getting off with it? Or being found innocent is probably a better phrase.
I honestly don't know. I think there's more at play than just that, to be honest. 115 charges, 130 charges. I think there's more at play than that. I think there's a little bit to do with the new regulations around what you can give out in terms of spending and wages. Because obviously there's a rumour that 70% stuff's coming in, isn't it? And it's going to be trialled. Then you've got a hard push, I think, from a lot of owners, probably the American owners actually, for a wage cap. And I actually wondered whether, and this is probably pretty far out there, but like this was them getting the contracts done before any potential wage caps come in. And they can, because I don't think the Premier League will be able to go, now you've got to get under that. I think it will be a case of, well, we'll run it to this, but like a bit like the F1 did when they brought in a spending cap, and then it goes down and down. And so I think a 9.5-year contract might take them through what they perceive as the wage cap era, and Haaland's already tied up on stupid dough. Also, like, again, pretty out there, they could probably just loan Haaland out while they spend a couple of seasons down below if they ever did get down there, and then just bring him back when they come back up. I just think there's loads. I just find it really interesting, but it does make me think that the Manchester City are briefing their players that they are not having any type of they're not getting done for it, essentially, because that's, I think, what the agents will have been asking them.
I agree. He's not going to sign a 9.5. I think Manchester City must be massively confident. I know that there'll be get out clauses and whatnot written into his contract if they are guilty for whatever charge. But to pin your star asset down to 9.5-year contract, there's got to be huge confidence inside that City, boardroom right now. And it also kind of gives other players in that dressing room a bit more, confidence elsewhere that, hang on, if he's staying around, the Oscar Bobbs, when he comes back later this month from injury, and the Fodens, they're going to kind of build the team around those guys now. That must give him huge confidence knowing that Haaland's going to be there. But do you know, also, I saw Mark Goldbridge has got a lot of stick for this today. And I saw on Twitter, he said, he's going to spend majority of his career now as a City player. That'd be, 11, 12 years at a club that, of Man City, that even if they are cleared of all allegations, there's still going to be that tag in the background of, but you just pay people off. I think, I don't think he'll ever play for Real Madrid now. I don't think he'll ever play for Barcelona. I think he will be at City now until he retires.
But is that not a statement? Is that not like you?
Yeah, I know. But as a player,
talk about Barcelona and Real Madrid, like it's a given that a player should go there as the next.
Yeah, but they are the two
clubs. Trying to create legacy
themselves
and become of the level of a Barca and Real Madrid. Surely that's what you want to do.
And I think if that's your scenario there, Henry, if that's the case, and it's a club in England making a statement that we're going to sign players up and we're going to keep them here, and the big Spanish teams are not going to take them away, that's really good for the Premier League. It may not be good individually for our clubs when we play them because they're good, but most of us have lost so many quality players to Madrid or Barcelona over the years. And I've always felt when they signed Haaland, I felt it was a good indicator for the Premier League. And it's a shame that none of us could go and get Mbappe. I'm not sure everyone wants him all the time, but I think that's a good thing for the Premier League in that regard, if we're looking at what you've framed there. And I don't see what the issue with it is. It's, if he keeps scoring the goals he does and becomes the Premier League's highest goal scorer, City's highest goal scorer, wins 2 or 3 Champions Leagues with them as an example, that legacy, to go to Real Madrid and create that size legacy, He's got to outscore Cristiano Ronaldo and win probably 5 Champions Leagues to get his name above those people. So
he could outscore Ronaldo, though. That's the thing. He's only 23, 24.
Listen, maybe, but he'd have to be able to do it well into his like mid to late 30s. And what Ronaldo's doing, I know he's now in Saudi, that late in his career, that is a rarity. You have no idea when
he's the most likely to do it, though, isn't it? Out of all the players now in the world.
I saw a stat, though. I saw a stat about 18 months. He is the most likely, yes. But I saw a stat about 18 months ago, and I'll try and find it, which looks at how many goals Haaland had in his career. And it basically said to score more than Ronaldo. By the way, Ronaldo keeps adding to his goals now. Haaland would, from the age of 21 till he was like 38, would have to continue scoring something like 45 goals a season every single year.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, it was something obscure like that. So you look at it and think he could do it, but how many players maintain a world-class level beyond, say, 32, 33? If you think about the Premier League.
And you've got to be injury-free as well.
Injury-free. You think how many Premier League players have maintained that level beyond 32, 33? The vast majority.
Not Premier League. You think about La Liga. You got Kroos was still world class at the end of his career. Modric, Lewandowski, Benzema. I don't think he would ever get near the 700-800 goal mark in the Premier League. But in La Liga, maybe not beat Ronaldo's mark, but he could definitely be a legend in his own right. He's already won a treble in England. I think, other than adding to your Premier League titles, as a player.
What about the Premier goal record?
Yeah, mate. Shearer's worried, isn't he?
He's probably
worried
right
sure.
now. But do you not think putting that Madrid shirt on, walking out to the Bernabeu, banging a hat trick in the El Clasico, like those sort of things?
But he was a City fan when he was younger.
Listen, Henry, I hear you.
He's a boyhood City fan.
I understand where you're coming from, but I also see it from the other perspective. To go to Madrid, it depends on what his motivations are. Again, you're talking legacy, so we'll keep it in that framing. Even if he goes there and scores loads of goals and wins all the big trophies, he may not be seen by Madrid or La Liga fans in general as a bigger legend than, say, 10 other strikers that have played there. At City, he could become the greatest they've ever had and maybe the greatest they will ever have in the future. So there is something to be said about... It's one of the reasons that Harry Kane stayed at Tottenham so long. He hedged his bets and went, right, what I'm going to do is stay here, because if I can win a major trophy and score all these goals, I'll become Tottenham's greatest ever player. And there's a legacy within that maybe meant more to him than going to Bayern Munich earlier and becoming one of many to score loads of goals and win trophies for them, as an example.
Does anyone actually think he'll stay there for 9.5 years, by the way?
No chance.
No, I don't think that either.
I know, I was just wondering.
Especially if he does wane, especially if he gets to 28, 29 and maybe his legs go a bit, add a few injuries, City will sell him and it maintains it. But
I'll tell you what on the Haaland thing is going to be interesting is I think Vinny Jr.
those wages, where does he go? How much is he on now?
He's on 400 grand a week.
No, it's not. It's got revealed earlier. It's 525,000 a week. He's on.
So where, unless he's going to Madrid,
that's see, the thing is, Madrid's an interesting one because I think Vinny will leave. I think Mbappe's better performances have been coming off that left-hand side this season. And I don't think Vinny is an out-and-out number 9, and they've got Rodrigo for the right.
Where does he go?
Well,
Man United.
If he's going to go somewhere, I don't think PSG's an attractive enough club or Saudi. It will be somewhere in the Premier League. But then again, his wages...
He's not going to go to the Premier League. You won't go anywhere there.
Yeah, but the same legacy thing, you could argue he's already won a couple of Champions Leagues and a couple of La Ligas. Why not move to the Premier League? And that Mbappe situation, that dressing room, you've already got the biggest ego in football, who now is coming out saying he wants to play on the left. Vinny's got to be sitting and thinking, hang on, I'm supposed to be the guy right now. Because Mbappe, I don't know if you saw the Neymar comments with Messi saying that when Messi turned up, Neymar got, Mbappe got slightly jealous when Messi and Neymar connected back at PSG. I think that Vinny's saga at Madrid's going to play out. I predict he will leave in a couple of years. And I think if he is going to go to someone, City have got the financial side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him there. But then again, how many Brazilians have really performed to the elite standards in the Premier League? There's not many.
Yeah, that's not a great argument because he's Brazilian. He can't do it.
No, but like Brazilians, when they get to 26, 27, 28, they kind of slowly decline. How many Brazilians have still been world-class in their mid-30s?
Yeah, but don't be scared of the move. Change is sometimes good. Look,
that's what I'm saying. I think
like you, Henry. Change is good. Get your hair cut. Change is
Campbell
good.
showed Tottenham that there are, sometimes bigger things, bigger fish to fry.
Ruined his life,
Ruined his life. Premier League titles and for what, 3-4 FA
And now
Cups.
he can't. No one will touch him in the game of football.
Wait.
And he's had mental breakdowns, and he can't go anywhere without getting any abuse.
Before your last trophy, surely.
How Sim, was it you or your brother when we were at the Best Awards, Christmas there as well, back in 2017, who got in trouble for calling Sol Campbell a Judas at that event? Was it you or your brother?
I didn't call him a Judas, but
what did you call him, Sim?
I asked him a question. I said, "What's your opinion on club loyalty?" That's all I asked.
That's the one.
I asked him a simple. It was a journalistic integrity. That was a simple question.
Do you know
he
what,
didn't
mate?
like that question.
I did the same thing around those Best Awards because Shevchenko was that the one where Shevchenko was
that the
there?
rumours? I called him a Judas. Is that what's going around? That's not what happened.
It's not the rumours. That's what I just said. In terms of, but that's what you That's what you implied, and I'm someone that goes with what you imply more than what you say because we're not in a court of law. Like you are calling him a Judas without using the words, but a very good question.
So go on, Chris.
After that Pixel advert, like I don't personally think now. I know we spoke about this off air, but surely after that he can't complain when he gets stick. Like he is going to get pelters now from a lot of Tottenham and some other rival fans.
It kind of looks like he doesn't care, though.
No, but he has come out a number of times saying they need to let it go. It hurts. Yeah, well, and then clearly a year later, he's taken off a white jumper.
Every year he comes out with an interview saying we have to move on. I'm getting desperate. I'm getting this and that.
Hey,
I'm like
Hugh, look at how triggered they still are a quarter of a century later.
When you think about what Tottenham have achieved, I mean, all banter aside, right? Really. When you think about what Spurs have achieved in the Premier League era compared to what Sol Campbell alone, their captain, who told them to their faces that he was staying, and then the next, it must be difficult. And I'm still not over on going to Barcelona, Van Persie going to United, etc., etc. We can go on. The list goes on and on. You just got to live with it. But I mean,
yeah, but Henry's not coming out.
Should also
making Google Pixel adverts.
Okay, imagine Saka ran down his contract and came to Spurs.
You don't have to imagine, mate.
Imagine
it would never happen.
You wouldn't tell me you wouldn't abuse him for the rest of his life. Like,
in all honesty, who does go the other way?
William Gallas. William Gallas.
Exactly.
Rohan Ricketts.
Yeah, I mean,
but Hugh, say that scenario did play out. Saka run down his contract inside the Spurs. One league title.
An academy product. You wouldn't tell me just to move on. You wouldn't listen to me telling you to move on.
Yeah, man will live on Mars before that happens. Yeah?
And then Hugh, in 25 years, Hugh. In 25 years, he comes out, doesn't he, and advertise Facebook Meta 36 or whatever it will be by that point, and he'll be fuming about it. Honestly, I thought it was the funniest thing I've seen for ages. It was just an absolute middle finger up to every one of those match-going fans that used to support him. I mean, if I was a Tottenham fan, I would be raging. Even more now.
He comes out and he cries every year with an interview saying we need to move on. I'm getting all this abuse. Why is everyone still 20 years later giving me abuse? And then he does that. What does he expect?
I honestly think he's just gone, well, it's not going to stop, so fuck him. Here we go.
Lean into it. I think that's
he goes on AFTV and he calls Tottenham fans racist. He says, is it a race thing? I'm like, you absolute bastard, honestly. You calling out Tottenham fans for being racist. Our biggest legend is Ledley King. What are you talking about? The reason is because you're an academy product who left on a free and went to our biggest rivals and ran down your contract. That's why we can't stand the sight of you. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's ridiculous.
You can't
that was actually worse than his move. That was actually worse than his move by calling out Tottenham fans being racist. That's disgusting.
I can't believe you think Ledley King's your biggest fucking hero ever. Is that right, Henry? I mean, that is a sorry state of affairs.
Ledley
King is an absolute darling of the Tottenham fan, and I'm not going to be apologise for that.
Ledley King comes over Sir Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah, but
not the biggest ever, but he's right there.
You said it.
Okay, you can defend him properly. Yeah.
He's in the top five.
I'm just mad that Sim just said, like, no, I won't say that. I'll say that for after the show.
What did I say?
You basically just did the Tottenham version of like, I can't be X because I've got a mate who's Y. Do you know what I mean? It's so funny.
No, come on. I don't know how he can bring that into it. That was worse than the move, honestly, calling Tottenham fans racist for that. Ridiculous.
Haaland's video, though, the contracts video, incredible. Yeah, striking fear into every Premier League club. What did he get? 36 goals in his first season, 27 in his second season, 16 this season already. On course for 30 again. He can be a dominant force for years to come if they find themselves another De Bruyne. Can they find themselves another De Bruyne? They're certainly trying to put bits together that will bring them back into the conversation very quickly. So yeah, in summary, I reckon don't be too wound up by these videos. They're there to get your engagement. But in all seriousness, City are clearly not going anywhere, and people should be awake to the fact that more than likely are going to be coming away from this with a fine. Maybe something more than likely a fine that they will be happy to move on from.
Yeah, no, my gut's telling me that at the moment as well. Back to the original point, wasn't it? I don't think for me it's about the severity of the cheating if they're guilty. If they're not and they prove their innocence, I'll stand there and say, well, they're innocent. For me, I'm not as worried about the fine or the relegations as I am understanding exactly what they have or have not done wrong.
Hey, can I just interject there? Is that what you worry about? Because surely it's more worrying the amount of money they have to throw at a legal team that could make so many things so difficult where
this may well
be more than the
so when I say the thing I worry about the most, it's are they going to get relegated? Will it be a points deduction? Will it be a fine? Let's just live in a world where they're found guilty for a moment so City fans don't cry. I want to understand the volume of the alleged cheating, because for me, I don't think people have deeped enough how this could change. This could rewrite the last decade of football in England. And the example I would give is this: Liverpool missing out narrowly on trophies. Managers like Jose being sacked after coming narrow seconds. You've had loads of these situations, the money that people are spending as an example, how we all judge our clubs. City have been used for many years as the sort of the benchmark of owners investing, developing the local areas, being good owners, always reacting like this January and buying the squads. If it turns out that hundreds of millions of pounds each year was being pumped into the clubs against the rules,
which we know was.
It rewrites everything. It could, example, you asked earlier what Liverpool fans think of FFG. If it turns out that City's owners have cheated and 70-80% of their income, and I'm giving an example of a really bad case scenario for City, shouldn't have been there. Therefore, the squads they built that led to those teams that took all those titles away from you, your view on FSG could change, because actually you were within the rules and doing the right thing, and you were only beaten by a team that built a superior squad through cheating. As a Man United fan, doesn't mean I'm going to change my mind about the Glazers, but were we measuring them against an ownership that were cheating at that same time? And so that's, for me, I see a lot of people say things like, well, I wouldn't want the trophies. I wouldn't want the medals. I don't care if they get stripped. I actually think people are focused on the wrong thing. The legacy, or the damage to City's legacy. And what does it mean for those managers, those players, those teams that have lost to Man City in title races, FA Cups, Champions Leagues, in that same period? Because in every other sport, financial doping isn't so much an issue. It's more about physically doping. But it changes the legacy of an Olympic sprinter if he loses his gold medal.
But sorry, what you're forgetting, right? What you're talking about is all well and good if integrity is held up, within the system. The likelihood is that what we've got on our hands here is more like an Usain Bolt situation, whereby if you look at the top fastest 100-meter runners of all time, I think all but one of the, let's say, 12 men who make that list with the top 20 fastest times ever have been caught doping. The only one who hasn't is the man at the top, who is sort of holding the house of cards up. And if he was to crumble, so would the whole thing.
Yes.
I worry that, they won't necessarily feel comfortable making a full example of City, because that means that all those, like you said, all those competitions that we've all invested so much time in, it's sort of null and void. How do you rewrite history like that?
Yeah, well, no. So I understand that you can't rewrite the history. I'm just that's why I think it's so seismic. As I say, the punishment, if they're found guilty to the highest degree, the last thing on my mind initially is the punishment. I want to ascertain, understand, read through the documents to look at what they did, and then reflect and say, well, actually, and not, you can't rewrite history. You can't suddenly go, actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was quite a good. He came second twice. He might have won 2 league titles. You may not be able to do that, but it rewrites everything that we've thought was good or bad at the top end of the league in the last decade, because the team that has been the stars and the winners maybe shouldn't have been there. And I feel that for me has always been my focus in this, is understanding the level that they may or may not have cheated. And
I think we already know that. Don't forget that City have already been found guilty of breaking all these financial
Champions League
They've paid 20 million fines already. We know that's who they are. You know that's what the foundations were built on. There's massive fraudulence left, right, and centre. God knows what kind of backhanders behind the scenes that we don't know about. So it's like, sorry, we can't even argue about the influence of their owners on England. Like from loans to the Bank of England. Look, there's a whole bunch you can go into about fingers in different pockets and whatnot. Everybody knows, and we've been living with it. So I'm questioning how that is any different here, in all honesty.
I'm with you, Hugh, to be honest, mate.
We've come to accept that they're playing a different game to the rest of the league, mate. Liverpool know that. You know what.
But your view of it is, I suppose, this is where me and you see it differently. So you think, irrespective of the public verdict we all get, you do think they've done this and they are guilty, irrespective. You believe they have cheated.
100%.
We have proof and evidence that they are guilty of previous convictions already.
So if you, that's the only reason
we out the Champions League.
But that's how we see it different. So that's why maybe
how do you see it different? They got found guilty. They paid the fine.
Okay, but they also appealed it in the court of arbitration and they had it overturned. I understand that, but me,
it wasn't because they were not guilty, Terry. Sorry. It was because they weren't allowed to use it.
That's why I was saying the worry.
Evidence was chucked out.
It's such a financial powerhouse. You already said, I'll play this game in court for 20 years and send an army of...
Okay.
They're not willing,
I understand that. I understand
not willing to lose, but they will make it as difficult as possible to the point where it's like, you can't actually find them guilty.
So I understand that. I just, maybe the way I look at the world, I'm waiting to see what it is and then read everything and then understand it. That's just, okay. So if you do think they have cheated and done all of this, does that view...
No, Terry, we've established that they have cheated already.
Okay.
Legalese with me. Yeah, English is my speciality. Okay. I'm listening to each and every single word that you say, and I know you're being very careful to jump around the houses here, but let's be frank about what's happened. They were found guilty and they paid a fine, tens of millions of pounds for it. So let's not pretend that we don't know.
Okay, we don't need you then. Okay. So you think they're cheats. Does that change how you view all their success and the teams that came second to them?
I'm sort of accepted that that's where we are with what we're up against. And I think that maybe they have now, in fact, probably, almost certainly, got their house in order. And as a result, it is going to be even more difficult because remember, we're talking about a period back in time. This is years ago. This doesn't even cover the last few years. Like there's another 7 or 8 years of potential fraudulence that we haven't even looked into, where they are just accumulating trophies. So I think it's best for everybody to accept a position of, look, they're probably going to get away with this, or they're probably going to get out of the trouble that they appear to have been accused of. Yeah, let's just say that much.
I think I want them, obviously, to get fined in some way, shape or form, whether that be points or whatever. I don't really want the trophies handed to us, for example, if that was the thing. It was just whatever. I'm the same as you, though. I know that they've done it. I know that they've built Manchester City today on a house of cards, and unfortunately they've become a juggernaut, as I see it, unfortunately, a juggernaut by cheating. And they will always be the cheaters to me. 20 years down the line, you're still around the top of the table. It's because you cheated back then. And that is always going to be the case. And you look at the Italian clubs, the Juventus, they're still talked about as the cheats because they were the ones that went down and came back up, and they're back up now. And Italian fans still call them the cheats.
And can I just say, for parity, right? That sort of fraudulence, I agree with what you're saying so much there, that sort of fraudulence is something that I've come to accept of Arsenal's history. I know that we're built off an incredibly dodgy looking set of events. And our history in the top division is sort of dependent on that. And therefore, the position that we're in now has been reliant on that. So it's silly to pretend otherwise. Sorry. that House of Cards, the fast track system that they've managed, or that path that they've managed to create themselves, we've already seen how they've done it. I don't know why we're all pretending that this is like a must.
Apparently they have the highest commercial revenue in Europe or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
How are we meant to believe that? How are we meant to sit here and believe they've got higher commercial revenues than United and Madrid and Barcelona? I think it's an absolute joke. It's so obvious what they've done.
Hugh, why do you think the mainstream media, the big channels like the Sky Sports and the like, why do you think they rarely touch on the subject? Why do you believe they kind of skirt? It might be a talking point for 5 minutes on a show, but then it's back to how amazing are they?
Well, a few reasons, really. If the product is the Premier League, they are the sort of toy in the window, as it were. And, you know, they're so successful and they have been so good that it is the most attractive thing that you can sell in the league, I guess. And they're trying to sell the success. Much in the same way as they did during United's era, man. You couldn't say boo about United on mainstream media, although we had a lot less of it. There's no denying that the situation that they've created for themselves now is, you know, it's going to be very difficult again for them to turn their back on what they've created as well. Think of like how much would have to change if, let's say, they were, you know, punished by one or two of the titles being taken away from them. How much would have to change for that to actually make the product believable? I just can't see that happening, man.
I hear that.
The reason that they don't talk about it as well is like the reason that a lot of legal cases in football aren't talked about is, one, people aren't educated on the case itself, and two, it's probably safer not to, as you may well be liable yourself, given that you don't know what the result is. So
yeah, no, that makes sense, and I do get it. And for me, as I say, it's just about I'm intrigued to see the outcome of this. I want to read it. I want to know what they say. The most gutting thing I think for fans will be if it's all kind of done, and then not much is available for the public to be able to read and look at. And that's my biggest fear in this, because whether they're found guilty or not, I still want to be able to have the opportunity to read it myself and digest it myself and understand it, if that makes sense. Because I want to understand the severity. And because look, the emails are there, and I know that some City fans claim they're fake emails or they're leaked emails, so they shouldn't be taken seriously. But I want to know the magnitude and the volume of the fun, because it only shows us the tip of the iceberg, and I want to know how much has gone on for me. Like, that's the bit that's been frustrating this whole time. Is it? I know that some of you believe, and it's fair, you've got your own opinions, that it's hundreds of millions that have been pumped in. I just want to know for sure before I have that opinion. And
the emails are there. It's just how the emails were accessed.
Yeah, no, I understand it. But
are they admissible in court because of the way that they were obtained, like any evidence? So it's another case where you're more than entitled and capable, if willing, to make your own mind up. Sorry, we don't need like this is all. Like, it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Should have been done by now, anyhow.
Absolutely. Tell you the other thing is something that I've always thought, right? You see you mentioned it before, Terry, about the financial doping and stuff like that. Does anyone believe the money with the most sport, the sport with the most money in the world doesn't have physical doping in it?
Well, yeah, but you guys were accused of it recently, weren't you? With like 90% of your squad having asthma.
Does anybody believe that the sport that generates